Hello and welcome to this webinar, this twilight session this evening, where we're going to be looking at how we can support communications and self-advocacy for young people who have Down syndrome in your setting. So as educators, how can you use easy read communications, but also we want to talk about self-advocacy. So we're joined this evening by Catherine, who is a member of Our Voice. Catherine, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you want to say hello?
Yeah, hi guys. I'm Catherine Watson from Our Voice UK.
Thank you, Catherine, and we'll hear more from you later. And Chris, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, yes, my name is Chris Osunsami, and I'm also an Information and Training Officer at the Down Syndrome Association.
Lovely, thank you. And we are delighted as well to be joined this evening by Pete from PhotoSymbols. Pete, if I could ask you to introduce yourself.
Hi, yeah, my name is Pete Le Grys. I'm really glad to be here, actually. It's a nice thing to do at the end of the day, to sort of chat and touch base with people. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to answering questions and having a good chat.
Great, thank you, Pete. Gillian Bird is also here from the Down Syndrome Association. Jill, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everybody.
Do you want to say what your role is, Jill?
Oh yeah, I'm the Services Director of the Down Syndrome Association.
Thank you. And I realised I haven't introduced myself. I'm Sharon Smith, and I'm working for the Down Syndrome Association as a DSA Education Advisor. I'm currently running an inclusive education information campaign on the website, and we'll make sure that we share the link with you if you haven't already seen it. But basically what we're doing, well, we're about halfway through now, I think, but basically between September and mid-December each week we're putting information on the website about a different theme, a different topic related to supporting the inclusion of children and young people who have Down syndrome in education. And one of the themes, one of the topics that we wanted to talk about was about communication and also self-advocacy, and we just wanted to introduce Our Voice and also to talk about the work that PhotoSymbols do with easy read communications, which is a mechanism that is used by Our Voice. And I know that Catherine and Sam, when he arrives, and Chris will be able to talk to you about that a little bit more. So in terms of how the session's going to run, we've got some rough timings. We'll see how they go. For the next half an hour, so the first half an hour, Pete is going to talk about PhotoSymbols, about easy read communications and the benefits of those, but also how to approach if you're going to want to produce easy read communications in your setting. So Pete will have a chat with you about that. We're hoping that he might be joined by Hayley, and we do have a couple of slides from Hayley as well, if she's able to make it. So everyone keep fingers crossed. So after Pete and Hayley have spoken, we'll then have half an hour for Catherine and Sam from Our Voice, who are going to present along with Chris, who is one of the two DSA information officers that supports the Our Voice group. And that should leave roughly 20 minutes at the end for a Q&A session. So I hope that's all okay. Let me just check, because I can see there's a question in there already. Okay, we will have a look at that afterwards, Elizabeth, thank you. And Sam is here too. So before I move on, I'm going to ask Sam to introduce himself. Hi, Sam, how are you? Can you hear me, Sam?
Sorry guys, he's on mute and we can't see him.
Hopefully Sam will know how to unmute himself. Here we go.
Hello guys.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
It's nice to see you. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I want to do. My name is Sam Potterton, and I work for the Down Syndrome Association and Down Syndrome International.
It's great to have you here, Sam. So we are recording this session, and I know that you're happy for it to be recorded. we're just going to start, first of all, with a session from Pete. So Pete's going to talk about easy read communications and PhotoSymbols, and then we're going to come to you, Catherine and Chris, if that's all right, Sam.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to mute myself and I'm going to hand over to Pete.
Hi there. My name's Pete Le Grys. I work for a company called PhotoSymbols, but I don't really want to spend much time talking about what we do, really, because it's only one of a number of approaches, and we're only one of a number of symbol providers, and each one has its own strengths and weaknesses. And I think it'd probably be more useful if I sort of acknowledge that early on, and just say that there's not one size that fits all. And I've been involved in Easy Read for 30 years, 35 years, and the longer I do it, the less I know, the more not confused I am, but the more different ways of doing things I see, and the more sort of good practice I come across, and I think, oh, I wish I'd done that 15 years ago. Or so I just want to sort of talk, maybe take a little whistle-stop tour of some of those years and some of the things that stand out to me. So I started as a group worker in a day centre, which back in those days, in the 90s, sort of early 90s, nobody said what a day centre should be. It was more like, was it a daily place where people went as for respite? Was it an educational setting? Was it leisure? So there was all these things. Was it about hobbies, about people using the community? So it was a very mixed bag of things. And just thinking about education, one of the first things we did was make an easy read version of a timetable. So we were taking line art and cutting pictures out and photocopying them. And then, so a lot of what I'm going to talk about is quite low tech. Then we're getting tracing paper and finding photos of things that we liked and tracing over them. And then you just ended up with something that you could photocopy. So you had a thick pen, you had a picture of maybe somebody doing a sport, and trace that, photocopy, and then start using those symbols, all copyright free, because it's not actually the same as the image that you're using. So it was a very much a sort of suck it and see, sort of trying things out approach. And from then on, things sort of slowly built up. It built up from doing a lot of meetings, and it was easier if we, instead of talking about a tea break, we had a picture of a cup of tea. And digital cameras were just coming out, and I think the first digital camera we had cost £4,500, which was more than my car costs today still. And you had to slide a floppy disk into the back of it, so big disk, and you slid it in. It would hold about 3 pictures, and we had it shipped over from Germany or something. It was ridiculous. The technology was up there, you know. And now it's exactly the opposite. Everyone's phone will take a really good picture. Most people's phone, the stuff that people have in their pockets is just phenomenal. So that's a great development. And I would say to sort of bear that in mind when you're making Easy Read. About the thing for me is that it's got to fit the audience. It can't be tokenistic. It can't be something to tick a box, to say, look how great we are as an organization, aren't we fantastic? Here's our annual report, and it's got lots of these lovely symbols on it, and there's lots of people going, yee, and smiley faces, and it's just pure sort of corporate vanity. It's people sort of showing off a little bit without. The stuff I like is the stuff that's a bit grittier, where somebody's actually thought about Sue or Steve or whoever's the end person using the Easy Read and made it special to that person, made it something that's fits that person. And one size doesn't fit all. So there's this sort of rush, and people want it because they look at something like sign language and they see something, they say, when people sign, or Makaton, when people sign and they want a biscuit or something like that, there's a standard sign and it works in different places with different people, and people want that, and they want to say, if I press a button or I use a bit of a computer program, it will solve all these problems. The answer is it doesn't really, but people want it to, because it's painful not to be able to communicate with people. It's distressing, you know. You want to have a conversation, and it's hard when you can't. So, oh, hang on, I'm just getting a call coming in. I'll just take this a second because I think it's Hayley. So I'll just put myself on mute a second. Sorry.
No problem at all, Pete. So we're hoping that Hayley will be able to join Pete. I recently went on a PhotoSymbols course that Pete and PhotoSymbols were running, and one of the things that they talked about in terms of learning how to produce easy read information was having a relationship with one or more people who have a learning disability, who you can actually check that the materials work for them before you publish them. So one of the things that I didn't say at the beginning when I was introducing myself is I have a daughter who's 18 who has Down syndrome, and she's also part of Our Voice. Her name's Tansy, and Catherine and Sam and Chris know her. And so when I'm producing easy read materials, then I often will just check them with my daughter and make sure that she can understand them and that they make sense to her and that they flow, and that if there's any words in there that she doesn't understand, then I'm able to actually add those into the communication with an explanation. So the reason that Pete was wanting to co-present today with Hayley is that Hayley is one of the people that does that for Pete. So Pete, I was just introducing who Hayley was and why you were hoping she would be able to join us today.
Yeah, and Hayley, she's just about to join us, thank goodness.
Okay, wonderful.
Stop me waffling on. So she can say things in a better way than I can. She's got a lot of really good insights. But going back to that idea about just trying different approaches, having the end person you're writing to in mind all the time, and working out, everyone's got a preferred style. Some people, I'm better in smaller groups. So if I'm in a larger group, if it goes over about 8 people, I tend to kind of hide a little bit and go, oh yeah, you know, I'll let other people do the talking. And everyone's got a style of group size or a style of communication that they prefer. And it's our jobs really as educators to sort of, and I'm sure you all do it, I'm sure we don't even think about it sometimes, but you're working out what works and working out what's a good fit, and also what are the resources you've got in your toolbox. And I think one of the things I'd sort of, on the course Sharon was talking about, is that I'd like to say to people, don't be scared to mess up. Don't be scared. Nobody's going to knock on your door at 4 in the morning and drag you off to the easy read gulag saying you've committed a terrible crime. It's awful what you've done. You're just trying, and you'll mess up, as I have done. I look at stuff I've done 6 months ago and I wince. And that's a really good thing about easy read. If at least you're trying something, at least you're trying to do it. And if it looks shoddy and it doesn't really work, keep going. Just every time, just refine it and refine it and refine it. So yeah, that's a really important thing. Not to be scared, not to have a really sort of high production value, that you look at something and think that's really well designed. I'll never be able to do the design. The design's not really that important. It's the gold standard. I always think about easy read is a conversation between somebody who cares about another person, about what they think, about whether they're included, about whether they're bored, about whether they're intimidated, about whether they're embarrassed. All those things that you do naturally when you're talking to somebody, that you're just scanning, going, oh, are they still paying attention? Oh, do they know that word? Oh, you know, all of those things. And that's the gold standard. Anything else, what we're trying to do with easy read and any communication system is trying to emulate that. Which brings us on to another debate about, is the easy read for the person, or is it designed as a visual aid for the support worker? So this is one of the sort of questions that I've said in 30 years' time of work, I still don't know the answer to that one, about who's the end user. Is the end user a person in an educational setting, a pupil or a student, or is it the support worker or the educator? And what we're doing is making resources for that person, for that conversation. And I change from one side, go, oh, it's people's right to have the information in the format they want. And then I sort of go the other way and think, well, yeah, but it would be more effective to sort of load the tools for the person. So that's sort of one of the big questions, really. I don't think there's any shame in doing both. And I think this is another thing I'd say is that sometimes when you're making Easy Read, the stages that you go through, maybe writing the text or working with pictures first, whichever way you do it, some of the things that you do are sort of useful byproducts. So if you're writing the text and then you're putting pictures in, you've got the text as it is, as a text-only version. That could be a script for a podcast, or it could be something that you could do into a voice message or into a little quick video. So there's lots of different ways that you can sort of use some of those things as byproducts. I was expecting Hayley again, so I'm just going to stop and just catch up with her. I guess I can just mute.
So while we're waiting for Pete to come back, and I will get Pete to also answer this question later on himself, but there's a question in the chat from Elizabeth, or in the Q&A, should I say, from Elizabeth, that says, would you say there is no universal way to do Easy Read? So if you don't have a specific person in mind as the end user? And I think, and I'm just talking about what I've learned from the training that I did at PhotoSymbols, is that no, there isn't necessarily a universal way to do Easy Read communications. Quite a lot of Easy Read communications will have photos on the left-hand side and text on the right-hand side, but it doesn't have to be like that. And when I share, when Hayley arrives and when I share the Easy Read that Hayley and Pete have produced, you'll see that that hasn't been done in that exact way. Generally, it's about having photos and text combined, that the photos are meaningful in some way, and that they support the text that is next to it or above it or below it, depending on the structure and the layout. The other thing that Pete talked about on the course, and which I briefly mentioned before he came back, was just thinking about how to simplify that text down. So if you are using words that potentially the end user or some of your end users might not know, is to try and explain it in words that they will know, or if they're not going to know them and it is brand new vocabulary that you're introducing, to almost have some glossary text boxes where you can explain what those words are in simpler terms, and again using photos to support that. So I will get Pete to answer that question himself when he comes back, well, at the Q&A session at the end. And if anybody else does have any questions as we go along, please do put them into the Q&A box. Pete, back to you.
Hi, sorry about that. I think Hayley's just found the link and is clicking on it, so any second now, I hope. If not, I was listening to what you were saying, and there was a question there. Do you want me to touch on it now, or would you like me to?
Yeah, you can do it now if you like, while we're waiting for Hayley, that's fine.
So I would say there isn't a universal way to do it. I tend to have a person in mind when I'm writing, and this I'm very lucky that I can consult with what we call expert advisors. So there's sort of 4 or 5 people that I meet regularly every week, and sometimes it's 20 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 5-10 minutes, and we go through stuff. So that's a real luxury. A lot of people have that time to just sort of spend thinking about these things. So that's really good. But often I'm working at night, or something comes up before I can speak to a person. So I have a figure in my head, and I think about a person going back to that day centre 35 years ago. And I always think, would Trevor understand this? And I think when I'm running some words or through, I'm going, okay, so if I want to explain, say, general election, I have to think, what are the nested words that I need to explain to Trevor that he would understand this? So I think, would Trevor understand government? And I'm thinking, no. So I'd need to explain that. And then I'm saying, okay, well, how would I explain government? I would explain that there is a group of people who make the rules about the country. Yeah. So I've got this filter all the time about how I can explain something, and this person I keep in my mind. And what I should have done is change the person over the years and not use the same person. Hi, Hayley, you all right? Your mic's on mute.
I'm sorry I'm late, everyone.
No problem. Welcome, Hayley.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
It's okay. How are you feeling? You all right?
Yeah, I am now awake.
I was saying, well, I think we were saying how important Easy Read is to some people, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it. And can I just tell people a little bit about you? Is that all right?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Tell me off if I make something up or it's not true.
Oh, don't worry, I will.
Yeah. So Hayley uses Easy Read all the time, but is one of the things I'm always impressed by Hayley's work is that she sees stuff that other people don't see. So Hayley does something, a lot of what we call compositing, where she's putting two symbols together to make another symbol. So if a symbol doesn't exist, or a way of saying it that's not there, Hayley will combine the two together. Whereas a big part of my week is people who are really sort of well educated and clever people saying, oh, you haven't got a symbol for this. And I'm thinking, well, that doesn't stop Hayley from making one in 30 seconds. So she can do it. Why can't you, doctor of such and such, you know? So you're streets ahead of some people, Hayley, because I get a lot of queries about stuff that you were just putting together. And you use Easy Read sort of quite important to you. Is that right?
Yes, Easy Read is really important to me.
Excellent.
Yeah, definitely. Well, would you like me to do my little thing?
Yeah. Do you want to do your presentation? Sharon's going to share it on the screen. So
oh, but
you
it
should be
is
able to
in
see it up there.
English. It's not English.
I haven't explained about Hayley, so I might do that at the end, if that's all right. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely fine.
Okay.
Okay. I think you can see that there. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to talk?
So basically, this is about how Easy Read has helped me, and through all of my life, communication hasn't been really the easiest thing to do for me, to be able to communicate in the right way or get people to understand me in the right way. So I found communication quite hard. There was no eye contact. The negative body language all over the place wasn't good. I just found it hard to say how I feel and what I wanted. How it stopped me is not understanding the information that's given to me in leaflets, and bills and money are scary to understand. So and more things are online, but I struggle to keep it. I struggle to keep up with because everything's online, and there ain't much Easy Read online. I hate it when I get letters that any information is full of jargon. So I don't like that. And not having the support to understand information was very important to me. Because although I cannot read very well of English, I have my own language, Hayley, which I get through with because I've always not been able to read English, but I can read my own language. And there's just a lot of things in gobbledygook that we just don't understand either. I found Easy Read later on in my life, although I can't read the pictures, helped me understand what's being said. It helped me with lots of things, like everything that we listed. What didn't help me, things did. And the big thing for me, I like to be involved in helping other people make a difference. So help them, give them information in a way that everybody understands. I feel sometimes that Easy Read is it should be a second language straight up. It should be. I just don't feel it is, because even the government struggle to use it. So, but I do think it should be a second language and should be a choice for everybody. Yeah.
You were saying there, Hayley, about giving feedback to councils earlier, and you wrote your own. The first time you wrote an annual report, wasn't it, last week or the week before?
Yeah.
Was the first time you'd done it by yourself on your own, going through for the Opening Doors, the group you work with. Is that right?
Yeah. So I did an annual report based on our AGM. So the feedback that people gave us, I had to then put into a report, and I've never done it before, a report, and all I had to go on is what people have said in their thought bubbles. So, and I just come up with a couple of pages along, quite a nice, easy read report, and which everyone was happy with and they understood it. And yeah.
Thank you, Hayley. Thank you.
I also do a lot of poetry. So
yeah, save your poem for the end, though. So, yeah, you've got a poem. Have you got one ready?
I haven't.
Oh, okay, that's all right. That's all right.
I haven't. I'm really sorry.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Not this time. But what we could do,
maybe we can send.
Send it. And what I'd like to do is be able to do a nice one, be able to send it all to you, so you've got a copy of it.
Yeah. And that's quite a new thing for you as well, isn't it? Poetry. You've been doing it for a couple of years now, and getting more and more gigs and doing.
I do a lot of public speaking.
Yeah.
I do some public speaking. So I like to perform at like Norwich Rising, like Pride. I like to do loads of things like that. I like to perform and just to use my lived experience in the best way I can to help other people not have to go through what I have.
Yeah. Thank you, Hayley. Thank you. It's always fascinating when you tell us stuff about because you've lived and breathed it a lot, and I think I think it gives you a really good sort of good insight. You spot a lot of things I don't spot when we're going through documents, and I'm going, and I read it as a reader. I'm reading it really quickly, and I'm scanning it, and I look at a lot of reports, and you go, oh yeah, that thing on that page there, and that expression that person's got, and all of that sort of thing. So I think this is one of the things about, if people are making Easy Read, to get some sort of way of getting people
I think
to look at it.
I think you need to work together with people who have that lived experience of using it, and co-production is the key all the time. I feel to get a good bit of Easy Read done in the right way, then you need the right people who's actually it's aimed for as well. So if you've got a bit of easy read about, say, teddies, then basically if you haven't got a teddy or you don't like teddies, well, that really isn't your bit of easy read, is it? Do you need to find someone with the same interests so then you can get the best of easy read?
And pay them.
And pay them, really important. And it's the support. People need that support. So there may be people who can read, but use easy read as an easier way, or you get people that just throw pictures in, so don't quite know what they're going to put in, so they'll just throw a picture in and think, yeah, that's it, that explains it, but not really a lot of thought goes behind it.
Yeah,
So
you're very
say
hot
someone
on
told
using.
you,
Sorry,
it's like
sorry.
if you had like a picture and someone was talking about a goldfish, and then they put a picture of a shark in it, that's a little bit different than it's not. It's really important that all the pictures explain what you're trying to say, and so it's visual as well as it's so important, and that can take some time. But if you've got the right people to help you with that, then that's a bonus. That's great.
There was something there that you always spot that a mistake I make is when I use the same picture to do two different things. So you're very hot and going, well, you've used that already, that one. You can't use it again to mean something else.
No.
You either stick with it in that way or you know, so there's certain things that there's certain bits of information that I wouldn't have got without talking to you and some of the other advisors as well. So I was just going to talk about Sean really briefly, Hayley, if that's okay. So he's one of the other people we talk with regularly. Fridays I meet with Sean, and he was saying, he said to me the other week, he said, I can't read many words. He said, but one of the words I can read is cancer. And he'd had a letter through, and he said, I couldn't read anything apart from the word cancer in this letter, and it terrified him. And he had to take a photo of it and then send it to his mum. And she explained it wasn't anything to worry about. And so there's also this thing about people know some words. You can't assume that people don't have any understanding. There's also a thing about support. There's also a thing about Sean's got a very good system where he about the technology. We're talking about the phones and things in people's pockets, where people have got all this processing power that he takes a photo, he sends it to his mum says that. So there's things you can put in to support people to access a document or to look at a letter, and also that emotional sort of thing. And I wouldn't get these insights, these ideas, if I didn't speak to people regularly, people like Hayley and Sean. So that's really all I've got to say. I mean, it's a huge topic. Like I say, the more I do, the less I know.
Thanks, Pete. Can I just ask you, there's been a comment in the Q&A,
Sure.
and I just wondered if you and Hayley, before, because we've got 3 minutes before we move on to Catherine.
Okay, yeah.
Jane has just said that she loves when you create compound words, so images where you put together two images to communicate more of a complex idea. I wondered if you just wanted to briefly talk about that before we move on to the other presenters.
Mm-hmm. Is that like
You're the expert, Hayley.
Is that the compositing?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe not for this time, but I have actually put a mini presentation together for this exact thing, but I haven't got it with me. So basically, for compositing, if you think about like a sunny day in the community, how would you explain that in a picture? A sunny day in the community, right? So what I would do, I would find pictures of like trees. So I'd find a picture of trees on PhotoSymbol. I would then maybe put a green and blue background. So you got like a square, half blue, half green. You place the trees on top, and then I'd find like a community building, like say a shop and houses, and I'd add a shop and houses within that to make a picture. And then I'd stick then I'd find a picture of a sun and put a little sun on it, and that's the way I'd explain a sunny day as in the community. So with the sun shining, you've got the trees, you got the shops, you got the houses, all in one picture, and that's how I do that.
Can I just say, Hayley, you know Carl, who I work with, so there was two of us in PhotoSymbols. So Carl's a trained graphic designer, and the way you do it, he hates it. He just is all the exact opposite of how he was taught. And then I say to him, so this is how Hayley does it. And then he goes, oh no. And then he looks at what you've done, he's going, oh, that's brilliant. So you break all the rules that Carl was taught, and then he's going, that's really, really good. So, and what you do, where you get to is fantastic. So sometimes it's worth doing it your own way, I think, and not doing it the way that, Carl was taught anyway.
Well, I just do it in a way that's easiest for me. So everyone's got their own way of doing things, and it's best just to get the right stuff out of them. Yeah.
And to keep going, I guess, and not to stop.
Never stop. You keep carrying on, and more you do it, the more you understand it, and the more there's a lot of time have to go into Easy Read. So much time. It isn't a quick fix because people still need support at the end of it, maybe to understand it. And so just do Easy Read, give them an Easy Read letter. There you go. They've got it in Easy Read. They understand it. They still need that support to understand. So they still need someone who comes round to see them every day or something, or most days, or have to wait until they see someone. Just so they can have to go through it. So it is a time thing, but yeah, I find it relaxing. I find doing Easy Read relaxing. I really do enjoy it, and I find it relaxing.
Hayley, Pete, thank you so much. I don't know if everyone else can hear a little bit of feedback on my voice, so I do apologise. Hayley, Jane has also put into the Q&A just to say thank you to you as well for your discussion about those composite images. So we are going to move on to Catherine, Sam and Chris, who are going to tell us a little bit about Our Voice, the work that they do there to encourage self-advocacy, but also how Our Voice work with Easy Read documents as well. I'm hoping Hayley and Pete, you might be able to stick around for the question and answer session towards the end. That would be amazing. But I just want to say thank you to both of you for your really informative session as well. Thank you. So Catherine, Chris, Sam, over to you.
Thanks, Sharon. And just to say, I think Catherine has to dash. So
I have to soon.
yeah. So
after my chat, I have to go.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you, Catherine, for coming and sparing the time.
Thank you. So yes, I think we have a presentation. Would you like me to share my screen, or have you got it to hand, Sharon?
Yeah, if you want to share, that would be great.
Brilliant. Let me just. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen okay. Oh no, I haven't actually clicked share yet. Okay, so
yes,
can you see my screen?
We
Brilliant.
can.
So we're going to be starting before I introduce myself. So just to give you a little run through. So we'll start this bit of the talk with Sam before passing over to Catherine. Actually, I will do a quick introduction. So my name is Chris Osunsami, and I'm one of the information and training officers at the Down Syndrome Association. I've been with the DSA for about 7 or 8 years. I've just lost track now, Jill, and worked on a variety of projects that have included an absolute wealth of PhotoSymbols images. So I can assure you, Hayley and Peter, I've absolutely trawled through a lot of your database. Even thinking of one of the biggest, Let's Talk About Relationships and Sex project, had about 400 slides. So we've certainly had a number of images in there. So yeah, absolutely agree. And really, it's really actually quite sort of interesting to hear from Hayley about the process of creating photos, and I can actually see how some of those images come together. So it's really, really informative. So thank you again. And yeah, alongside creating resources, I deliver training and webinars and talks such as this one, and I'm part of the helpline team. And we're on Monday to Friday, 10 to 4, and you can contact us via email. But enough about me. I'll now pass over to Sam.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam, and I'm very helpful and very happy. At our voice, I help to talk about different topics. I find the topics fun and exciting. I have recently answered the consultant questions for the Oliver McGowan Monetary Learning Difficulties Training and help the NSS. I also took a trip to New York. Business. I talked in front of the UN on a World Down Syndrome Day in March. I told them about my life and how it's going. At our voice, we help each other get stuck. It's easy for me to understand because I am totally blind in one eye, so I can see it in a bigger format. I am very proud of myself for doing this work. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Sam. And now passing over to Catherine.
Hi guys, I'm Catherine, and before we go into my speech, I forgot to mention at the start that I am the member from the Our Voice UK, and also I am an inclusion advocate as well. So my name is Catherine, and I am a dancer. I also work at the Down Syndrome Association as an inclusive advocate. On Our Voice, I make good points and give views on things I have said. I like Our Voice because I have found my confidence and say what I have to say. I get a lot of support from Our Voice, and I do have great people who I get support from, and they are my friends. It feels like an Our Voice family. Easy reads and accessible information helps me to realize, understand, and be included in more things that I can do. Our Voice come together each week to talk about different topics. One of the topics is the education campaign. This is why we are here to talk with you all. We will talk about making possible accessible changes for all people who have learning disabilities in education. In Our Voice, we all made a recording or presentation talking about our life experiences at school. The DSA put the videos on their YouTube channel. Please watch the YouTube videos on the education campaign from the Our Voice people. Our Voice can do more topics like this in the future. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Catherine, and thank you again, Sam. I really appreciate
And
that.
I have to go, everyone.
That's
Bye,
absolutely
guys.
fine. Thank you, Catherine.
Catherine, thank you so
Catherine.
much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Catherine. Yes, that's one thing alongside just a point Pete was making, which is paying people for their time. It's also ensuring that if you are working and co-producing work with people who have learning disabilities, people who have Down syndrome, finding those time slots. And so we always make sure to show our appreciation for our members. They take time out of their days to join us in the work that we do. So yeah, but as Catherine mentioned, she is an inclusion advocate, and Sam has done lots of work working with the DSA and Down Syndrome International on various topics. Here's just a little rundown, a run through about the different things that the DSA does. And of course, as mentioned, the work that I do includes training, and again, we work on our advocacy project and other areas. So what is Our Voice? Lots of references to this group, this fantastic group today, and hopefully we'll be able to talk a bit about what the group does and how that actually works, and how we work with Easy Read information, and hopefully to sort of talk about the ways we look at Easy Read information and support the DSA as well as external organisations with their resources. So a little bit about the group. So here is the group. I co-facilitate with our colleagues in the helpline team, mainly my colleague Abigail, our self-advocacy project. As you can see here, a group of adults and some teenagers. Feels like I've known them for so long now, since the start of COVID. We've been meeting twice a week online, and as mentioned, our group participate in self-advocacy as well as inclusive participation projects. The members are experts by lived experience, and so, you know, as I mentioned, we really value every individual's thoughts and perspectives when we're reviewing or co-producing a document. And here's just a little, we'll whiz through some of these. Here's just a little run through. We have about 30 people regularly attend meetings to give their opinions, and some quotes from members about their experiences. And it's, yeah, these are really important to us. Finding my identity as an advocate, speaking up for myself, but also talking about the resources that, you know, hopefully will go to my doctor's surgery, or it could be used in an employer. It's, I think, the ownership that members feel, you know, is really important to us, and it's good to hear people finding their identity through the work that we do. And yeah, we have about 153 people, 154 people signed up to our mailing list as well. So, yeah, as I mentioned, we work on a number of resources, and I must say that, as Sam mentioned, working on these resources, you know, we value those opinions, and actually, that's one of the strengths from a group such as Our Voice, is that we have such a wide range of voices, a wide range of opinions, and so we get a really broad sense of what a document can look like. Pete mentioned that different perspective can give you an insight into how a resource looks, and that can be really important. That can be really key. I know Jill probably has worked on, you know, we've worked on hundreds of documents, and sometimes you could have a document, you could be looking at a document for quite a period of time, you can go back to it, you can review it, and then you just can't quite see if it's working or not. You can't quite see if there's something, you know, not quite right about this document. But, you know, working with Our Voice and having so many different voices tell us what they think has just been so, actually helps in a way, because I don't know, I'm looking at Jill here, but certainly whenever in the past, before working and in a co-production way. When you're creating a resource, it feels as though you're, taking your time and working quite methodically, and it can feel like you're walking through treacle. And actually, sometimes you need some brutal honesty. And our voice members can be really honest and tell you, actually, I don't know what this means. I'm not quite sure what this page is about. And actually, that's the most important thing, as mentioned, the end user and their thoughts and feelings about a resource and what that resource is trying to tell you. And so I feel as though now we're working in this co-production way. We're really getting to the nitty-gritty of what a document should look like, and what is it trying to say, and providing that feedback almost in real terms. So yeah, you can see here just a few resources we've worked internally with our WorkFit team, and creating resources as well. But also we've been creating and working on the reasonable adjustment digital flag consent form, which the NHS kindly said, actually, we've got several resources. What do you think of these? And our voice members gave some pretty honest opinions that actually they don't really work. They're confusing. They're not quite clear. So the NHS said, actually, just create one. Actually, you guys, why don't you take the reins and create a resource that you feel works? And it was really, we were really quite again, the ownership of being able to take that and create a new resource and say, here's what we think works, was really quite empowering. So yeah, hopefully we'll start to see those documents throughout the NHS. It's something that they want to roll out across their services. So yeah, that was just a little bit about that. And again, I think one of the things that came out from the work that we did creating this resource was the fact that actually we also need to, and it was a little point, but also we need to show representation, actually highlight that actually individuals who have Down syndrome were involved in this, and showing a bit of flying the flag in a way, and that almost, it kind of again, Pete was saying, it kind of pushes back against perhaps some of the rules, which is actually we need to have an official process that says, actually, no, it was this person who created this. Actually, no, let's just break the rules. Let's be really creative and say, actually, no, we need to be a bit different here. I'm thinking, again, I'm looking at Jill here, I'm thinking previously, a number of years ago, creating a resource and saying, well, actually, do we need this back page? Do we need this page? Do we need, actually, the people we're working with, the individuals who have Down syndrome, are telling us that actually this resource works better like this, and actually let's break the rules. And actually, if we can change things to work for people and work for the end user, actually we can see a way forward. And so yeah, the NHS were quite, there was a bit of toing and froing, but happy to include that actually we need to show who created these resources and fly the flag of the individuals that worked in partnership with the different trusts involved. And we've also worked with the Department for Justice as well recently, reviewing and speaking to civil servants. Again, some of the key elements of our work at Our Voice is to actually, if we're going to introduce researchers or introduce external agencies or even internally, actually let's have those questions in an accessible format. Sometimes that maybe in an easy read format. Ideally, we want to see information presented in a way that allows all of our members to comment and have a say. And also alongside, and this is something that, although it's a slight aside to easy read information, but once we get into the habit of thinking about the person's experience at the end of the focus group, for example, we then think, actually, we need to provide that information in a timely manner. We need to start getting into good habits so that actually this is something we do anyway. We always present information in a timely manner, give that person time to think about what we'd like them to say, give that person that information in an accessible format. And as mentioned, easy read has been really, really useful in allowing our members to have their voice. And just some of the organizations we've worked with as well. So just moving on. So again, our meetings, we want all of our members to have a voice, and easy read has been really important in doing so. We've also found that external organizations have come back to us because they've really valued the thoughts and feedback they've received and the real breadth of opinions on a resource. We're quite careful to ensure that we guard against complacency, and we make sure that our rules are followed, and we have a clear framework so that members not only have the support to be able to voice their opinions and scrutinize and co-produce an easy read, but also that they are they're supported with regards to whether that's remuneration or being paid for that work, or being given the chance to have that space to say what they'd like to say. So if we need more time, if we need multiple sessions, then that's something we would make it clear that we need more time to respond in this way. And I think that's really helps. It's over the last few years, actually, we've seen a real acceleration, a real improvement in that area, certainly with external organizations just saying, okay, yeah, if you need this amount of time, we'll give you that amount of time. We're not going to rush for an answer for you. So let me just skip through. So yeah, we've also worked with other charities and provided information. And as you see, there's always different types of easy read formats, but fundamentally, when we're creating resources, we will always create resources with the needs of individuals who have Down syndrome in mind. So of course, that's having big and bold writing, making sure that information, as Sharon mentioned, has been broken down, if possible, and really thinking about the language that's used within a resource, and whether actually are there other ways to articulate a point being made. So yeah, I would say in our, and we're creating resources all of the time, and our members are becoming expert by experience, and so really valuing their input, and members are becoming ever more skilled and I think more confident. I think it was Hayley who mentioned previously about having the confidence to say what you think and put your points of view across. And certainly as that time goes on, we see members becoming more confident and voicing their opinions, and it's actually really great to see members' confidence grow in that regard. So yeah, we've important actually. I don't know if I wanted to say, Jill, it's pretty early on, but actually it's a really important project that's been great. And it's a shame that Catherine had to dash because she's pretty much integral to this project. It's called Listen, Include, Respect. So it's really exciting, and I'm not just saying that, it really is really exciting. People who have learning disabilities are often excluded from policy making processes. So really that kind of high level discussion, accessible meetings, consultations, etc. So the DSA, alongside Down Syndrome International, have been working together on an innovative project called Listen, Include, Respect. Listen, Include, Respect are internationally recognised guidelines for including people who have learning disabilities. I've been working with another colleague on the creation of those, pretty much from the middle of COVID. We were, pretty much due to fly out, and that all had to change. But we persevered and continued and created the guidelines, and then the guidelines were turned into an accessible website. And many organisations have already begun to implement the LIR guidance, the Listen, Include, Respect guidance, in their work, including the United Nations. What we're doing, we've employed 2 new inclusion advisors who are being trained on the guidelines and will develop a UK-specific training package. This will then be used to support government departments or external agencies to transform their processes to make sure they're accessible and inclusive. This practice will cover easy read information, good support on how to make meetings inclusive. So easy read information is really key to this. They're available online, but you're welcome to keep in touch with us about progress as well, and how perhaps in future to guide your organisation to become more inclusive. it really is exciting. Joe and Catherine have really big picture thinkers, I think is the best way to describe them, and bring a real energy to this project. And they're really pushing the idea that we really want to make the world as inclusive as possible, and implementing these guidelines will hopefully bring that dream to a reality. So yeah, that's just a few more slides really. It's just showing some of the members kind of advocating and talking about accessible information. Sam mentioned he traveled to New York as well. I know this is kind of aside from talking about Easy Read, but what I think my overarching point really here is that actually, in order to bring these opportunities to our members, we have to present those in an accessible format, and we often rely and utilize Easy Read information to not only talk about some of these opportunities, but also to allow our members to articulate their views and contribute in their own way. So I think that certainly whenever we're co-producing resources or sharing information, Easy Read has really been integral to the work that we do in Our Voice, and the opportunities that some of our members have had. And yeah, one day, hopefully, I'll see Tansy in New York as well. I'm sure, Sharon. And yeah, just to finish off, just a couple of really nice quotes I like, just to say what got us here, what get us there. And actually, as Pete said, we're on a journey, really just kind of refining and thinking about how we're creating resources and information. And we're always learning, and I feel that the journey that we're on in a co-production way. Hayley started talking about that, and I think it's really important. Co-producing resources really allows us to have a really successful journey because we're working together on creating information. And yeah, with us, not for us.
Thank you so much to Catherine, who's had to leave, and Sam and Chris. Sam, I've seen that you've put in the Q&A, can we watch a bit of it, please? Is this your visit to New York that you're wanting to watch a bit of, Sam?
Yes.
Chris or Jill, do you know how to access that quickly so that we could watch a bit of it? If not, Sam, we might have to share it with people afterwards, but
I think so. I'm really sorry, Sam. That might be, we might have to share it with people afterwards. And also speaking with creating a bit of a montage. We want to, one of the points I wanted to highlight also is to kind of highlight what we've been doing in the year, bringing together some of those real positive moments throughout the year, including some of those trips. So yeah, hopefully we'll be able to share that. I'm sure we posted it on our social media, but also bringing that together maybe in the next couple of months or so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, Sam, that we can't do that today, but we will make sure that gets shared with everybody and that it's on the Down Syndrome Association website. Did you want to tell us, Sam, did you want to talk about it, about going to New York?
Well, yes, I haven't been to, no, that's my first trip ever to New York. I've never been to New York. That's a very good experience for me.
That's fantastic. And what did you do when you were there?
Well, we went to the hotel to get settled in, and we see some sights. We were on the open top bus, and we had breakfast at the Dar's Just Cafe. And next morning, I was down to business and talked about my life.
Talked about your life.
Yes, with Robert Gibson. He also worked for the DSI Down Syndrome International.
Yeah. And how many people did you talk to? Was there lots of people there, Sam?
Oh yeah. There were tons of people, and I talked in front of the UN.
Wow, that's amazing. Well done. And we will make sure that a video of that gets shared. So I first of all would like to thank all of the people that have spoken. So obviously Pete, Hayley, Sam, Catherine and Chris. And would just like to open the floor for more questions to see if anybody who's here has got any questions for any of the speakers today. So there is a question that I'm going to just read out. It's from Elizabeth. Elizabeth has said that she's part of a group that got sponsored by the EU to develop a curriculum for self-advocates. What do you think are the most important things to include in a training course So the training course will be taught by young people who have Down syndrome. So does anybody have? Yes, Hayley.
What does curriculum mean?
Curriculum is the different lessons that, so in a school, when you have things such as history, English, maths, and then it's set out what you're going to learn in each of those subjects, that's the curriculum.
Right.
So it's basically a plan of
Like
what
a
you're going
rota?
to. No, the rota's more like the timetable. The curriculum would be the content of each lesson. So what the teachers are going to teach. Jill, I don't know if you have a better explanation of curriculum.
No, I haven't, but I was just going to say that Listen, Include, Respect that Chris is working on with the DSA, it's a DSA project now with Listen, Include, Respect, is to develop a training package that Catherine and Joe will deliver to other bodies and groups and organisations to teach them about how to co-produce and include people. So in a way that might be a little bit like you're asking about, Elizabeth. And the organisation we're working with, Down Syndrome International, and they're working with Inclusion International. So it's a massive project. It's just that we're doing it for the UK, and Joe and Catherine's views are shaping what that package will be like for more people, let's say, for more people here. We want it to be even more accessible. So they're doing it for, you know, the rest of the world too, but they're working with us as the first model, so it might be good to contact them if you're outside of this country. That makes sense. I have found Sam's film if we want to do a minute or two at the end.
That would be lovely. Yes, thank you, Jill.
Okay.
I think Sam would like that very much. So
Yes, I would.
I thought so. And I just saw that Elizabeth has said, yes, maybe training package is a good word for curriculum. So it's about the content, the package of the training. So if you want to find the Listen, Include, Respect information, we don't have a chat function, so we can't put links in to you. But basically, if you go to listenincluderespect.com, then you can find it. I will actually put that in the Q&A. I'll do it as a question to myself so that hopefully everyone else can see, because I think other people can see questions as well as us. So I will put that in. Oh, no, I can't. I'm going to type it as an answer to Elizabeth, because that's the only place I can do it.
Well, you do that. So Chris works on that project. And I think we're planning some promotions of it in December, aren't we, to make some films to promote it. But you're working on it now, aren't you, with Joe and Catherine?
Yeah. And we're shaping, and they're developing their skills as trainers. And I think that I was going to add to your answer, Jill, in that I think one of the things to include in a training course is really to kind of develop those sort of public speaking skills, or that confidence probably is more important rather than public speaking, the confidence to say what I think or articulate what I'm saying or what I'm feeling. And so I think that's one of the reasons why they're, you know, ideal in a way, because in different ways and in their own backgrounds, they've done things in their local in their locality which has involved talking about my experiences, talking about the things that I'm involved in, or talking about my lived experience. And so they're not afraid to kind of share that opinion and tell you what I think. And so actually by transferring that to this has been really great to see, because now we're, you know, sharing that information about listening, the Listen, Include, Respect guidelines, and shaping what a training package would look like, and how you're then going to be talking to people about these guidelines, as well as training those individuals.
Thanks, Chris. Hayley.
I don't know whether you guys have heard of the charity called Opening Doors. I'm part of Opening Doors, and it's a user-led charity for people, and it's run by people with learning disabilities, for people with learning disabilities, and we deliver training. We do our own training packages, and we deliver training to health professionals, and we deliver training all over the place to different people, and we do public events. And so yeah, that might be someone who somewhere you could link into, maybe.
Yeah. Thank you, Hayley.
So I think I've just found the website. Is it based in Norfolk, Hayley? Yeah, I found it.
Yes.
So if
Yes, it
anybody,
is.
wonderful. So again, if anybody wants to have a look at that, it's openingdoors.org.uk. So the website is there. So and Elizabeth has just said maybe she can reach out to you, Chris, and to Catherine, and have a talk about what they've done so far and also your work. And it might also be worth Elizabeth talking to Hayley and Opening Doors as well. Be partnership there potentially too. So and then the other comment we have in the Q&A, and I think this is for Hayley, and it's a shame that Catherine's gone, because Catherine is also into writing poems too. But Jane has said that she always works with, is it haiku poetry with her students? And they're all very creative with the 17 syllables. So I don't know, Hayley, if that's a type of poetry you've tried.
I've not got an idea what kind of poetry it is, to be honest. It's something
Well,
that just
maybe
comes
we
out
can
of me.
send you some examples through via Pete, so you can have a look at it.
Oh, awesome. And I just wanted to say about the Easy Read, Opening Doors deliver Easy Read training, which is run by people with learning disabilities, and it's promoted by them as well. So we deliver Easy Read training for just as a
Fantastic.
That's great. Does anybody else have any questions for the panel this evening? While I wait for people to type those, I just want to say that as part of this education campaign that I've been running, one of the very first things that I did was actually go to Our Voice as well, and met with Our Voice on 2 occasions. So I met with Sam and I met with Catherine, and we talked about the things that Our Voice wanted me to include in the campaign, and the messages that they wanted educators to hear, which is really important. And we've included those in the whole plan for the sort of 15 or 16 weeks of content. But also they've been producing the most amazing videos. Catherine's written and performed a poem, Emma and I can't remember who else, but somebody else has drawn a picture and a poster. We've had different people do presentations or to be interviewed, and it's just really rich, really rich content. So I do urge all of you, if you haven't had a look at that page, and again we can send that out to all of you, to have a look at it. And each week we are adding more and more content. And I know that next week Tansy is talking about travel training. I think we've got Catherine's poetry is going on the website next week. There's Sam's video about being a swimming coach. So there's lots of really lovely things going on there next Monday. So do have a look. If we don't have any other questions, Jill, I don't know if you want to share.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Thank you. Can somebody remind me, do I click share sound or do I click optimize for
Both.
video clip?
Both.
It's just one of them usually.
I normally click both, but share sound.
Oh, okay, we'll go for both. I
normally do both, but
okay. Tell me if it, can you see it now?
It's starting. Yes, we can see it.
Is it happy Valentine's Day, everyone? I am in New York City. I am here for the conference to talk about the independence and making your own choices conference.
Okay. And where are you doing that?
I am doing at the UN.
And what do you think of New York City?
New York City is fantastic.
What are you talking about today?
I am talking about being independent and having your own choices. But it is important for people who have learning difficulties and who have Down syndrome. It is important for them to become more independent like me.
What's good about independence?
And that's why you don't need to rely on a support worker to do things for you.
Love it. That's where you're going.
Oh, what? You're not on there?
The big one.
No, that one.
Yeah.
And I'm here to speak to you about how my life has been going.
So you did your talk.
Hey, I did my talk.
How did your talk go?
My talk is fabulous, Josie.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I enjoyed it the most. Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
Sam, wow, that's brilliant. I love it.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for asking us to share that. So I'm just having a look here. I don't have any other questions, but we do have Tiffany and Elizabeth have both said thank you to all of the speakers this evening. So I would also like to extend my thanks to you on behalf of the Down Syndrome Association as well, and to everybody who's come along to listen to this session this evening. And I think we can possibly draw it to a close. Sophie has also said thank you very much. So if we could do a round of applause for our speakers, then that would be wonderful. And thank you all very much. We are doing some other events just before we stop recording. So we've got some other events coming up. Please do have a look on the website. We have got one about preparation for adulthood and transition planning, which is in conjunction with NDTI next week. And then we have another one about securing education rights, which we are running with IPSI. That's towards the end of October. And then there is one towards the end of November, which is another panel event talking about inclusive education. And we'd love to see you at all of those too. Thank you very much.